Oh, Foxy, it's your birthday. Not for real, just for play. This is Cree Summer, and Moana Nui will be right back.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Moana Nui Podcast. We are here at Atlanta Sci-Fi and Fantasy Expo. We are here with one of the vendors here, the extraordinary crochet master. I'm giving you that title, but artist also. Ashley, can you introduce the audience who you are and a little bit about you?
All right. Hi, I'm Ash Davenport, and I do crochet and paintings. Pour paintings is my favorite thing to do because it's a controlled mess. So I like to do it for my Galaxy girls and their hair. And then crochet, I just like having fun and then also blanking out my head. So then, because you got to count the whole time.
Nice. Now, of course, I was introduced to Ashley's artistry. She actually, a lot of you know my little chibi that was done of my my first cosplay that Ashley actually drew for me at another expo that was at a library a few years ago. And that's how I got introduced to her artistry. And over the years, she's kind of expanded the artistry into so much more. So as far as your pour paint that you've done, what inspired you to create the series of the Galaxy Girls and come up with all the different creations you have for the series?
Oh, well, I really enjoy mixed media artwork. So initially when I did pour painting, it was, I don't know, probably like 2019, 2018. And I was like, oh, well, maybe if we put a little piece of vinyl or something on there to silhouette the lady on there, it'd be cool. And I did it one time and I was like, oh, we could do more. And then I got my dad involved so I could get him to cut out these, because I am no good with a jigsaw. And I'm learning though, we're gonna figure it out. So then I started adding in more stuff, like the vinyl, more using the vinyl for the glasses, adding gems, trying to do those little gem makeup looks and stuff. So I've been having a lot of fun with that. So it just kind of grew out of my need to do multimedia, like mix it up a little.
Very nice, because I remember when you posted your first Galaxy Girl when you were just playing around with it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I want that so bad, because I mean, just the way you did her fro and her skin tone and everything, I was just like, oh my gosh. And then along with me and several others was just like, okay, you got to start selling these. Oh my gosh, you do. You're like, well, okay, I just did this first to kind of play around, and then it kind of grew, and you expanded into different hairstyles and skin tones and everything. When you're creating the different looks of your Galaxy Girls, was there an inspiration that said, yes, I want to go with this look, or it just happens?
So, some of them, I will say yes, absolutely just happens. And then others I was like say the stars. They came from, I was writing a short story and the girl had vitiligo, and I was like, oh, maybe I can do something with that. So it'll be random inspiration. And so I was like, well, let me do the stars and add that kind of stuff. And then it moved on. We've done like Frankenstein, like, Halloween, horror themed girls, and they gotta have the cat eye glasses, So we've definitely done several different things. My daughter jumps in. She always wants like strawberry shortcake colors, and play around with, even if I'm reading a book, and like I definitely did one with hey, matter of fact, some of them were the hairstyles were born out of because it was something from the book. and it was like she had green locks, and I was like, oh, we're gonna try to figure out how to we're gonna do this. So I did that design, and like I guess some of the best parts of it too is that I get to go to my dad and be like, hey, can you cut this out for me? And he's like, I think you did something wrong. And like, trust me, just cut out the silhouette and then we'll get it done. So that's always fun, going back to him with another design. You got some more. So yeah, so that's usually how it happens. So half time is just, let's figure it out. And then the other half is usually something has sparked. Hey, maybe I can incorporate it into the girls.
Very nice, very nice. Now, and then after that, we started seeing you go expanding your crochet world, and everything from your hats to stuffed animals and so much more. When you're crocheting, you know, is there something that you're like, ooh, I'll just love to have a crochet version of this, or ooh, I saw this when I was walking and let me figure out how to crochet that. What is some of the inspiration between some of your crochet pieces that you've created?
Okay, well, first I've always wanted to learn, and then something happened in 2020 where we had some time. So I was like, all right, let's try it out, and hit the ground running, you know, made like a shark, because I mean, she was pink and just had to have a little shark, and just kept learning, seeing, you know, free tutorials. And then I'll tell you one thing, buying patterns is a whole different hobby. Like, you just you think you're gonna do it right then and there. No, you're not, because you need supplies, and then you're gonna get sidetracked. So definitely is a separate hobby from the actual crochet. But I will say, doing more and more of them has made it much easier for me to make alterations. Like, so say if I have like a simple bird pattern, then I learn about how to do different feathers and looks and stuff, and then they turn into another bird pattern. So, and it's not a pattern, but it's just updated. So that usually it's inspired by the fact that I've kept on trying out new ones, and then, oh my goodness, I can use this for something else. So that's usually what happens. And then, like, especially with like the basics that come from the base pattern for a chomper hat, and then say, I want to do Plants vs. Zombie. So then now you got to figure out how to do the horns, how to do, like, you know, all the additional pieces to the work. So that's the fun part about that. And then also, like I said, you blank your head out, because you got to count, you got to pay attention to what you're doing, or you're not going to get it right and it's going to look crazy.
So for someone who is interested in getting crochet, what tips can you give them as far as trying to navigate that? Because of course you see online and you're like, oh, you got to do the zigzag stitch or the oopsie doopie doo stitch. I don't know if that's really a stitch, but I'm gonna call it that. And then it's like, oh, then this is the, you know, London Bridge stitch, and it's just like, look, I'm just trying to figure out how to make this blanket. I'm just trying to make this baby blanket, this scarf. And what tips can you give for someone who's a new crocheter of things that they should know as they're either journeying into this as a hobby, as a form of relaxation, or possibly if they're interested in doing more with it?
Oh, I would say, well, first tip, take your time, because you got to count, unfortunately. You got to keep counting. The next thing it would be, start off with something simple. Don't try to jump into a blanket first, because it is, even though it is one stitch, it is a long line of stitches. Well, I guess two, because you got a chain. But even though it's like pretty simple, straightforward, it's a lot. So start with things like small items such as dish towels or something, and you want to do a square, then you want to do a circle. So practice your shapes, and then you'll understand how to extend, keep on getting more height. You'll understand the difference between a single crochet and a triple crochet. And then also pay attention to, if you're going to get a pattern, is it UK or English? Like, just make sure you understand that there's differences between how they name the stitches, and then you go from there. So I would say, like I said, take your time, start small, and then keep challenging yourself. I'll say that. Okay. Challenge yourself, decide that, okay, I'm gonna try this. Yes. And we're gonna see what happens.
See, I made that mistake. I was like, I got some time. I'm gonna make a blanket. And then like 6 months later, I was still making that blanket. and then I was like, see, if I invested this much time and I'm gonna put this much effort, I'm gonna make a queen size blanket. So then I added some more time.
Oh my goodness.
And then I'm like, all right, I'm giving this to somebody.
Right.
But it's one of those, it was just like, and I just only knew the single stitch because Joanne's had this little piece of paper in the yarn arm. I was like, here's how to, start and how to do a blanket. I'm like, boop, I'll do this. So yeah, just as a first timer, if you're trying to do a blanket, just go ahead. If you're doing queen size, invest a year plus to do that.
Well, yeah, I know folks do. I'm going to try this at one point, like the temperature blanket, where you would just do one roll per day. And based on the temperature, whatever temperature it was, is your color that you're going to choose for the blanket. So then maybe that can be just a way to, hey, I'm doing a project, but I have 365 days. I gotta be able to get it done. So I do want to try, but I'm like, I might just do like a snake or something. Like I'll just go in a circle. Here's my 6 stitches. And that's done for the day. It was 85 degrees a day.
Okay. So, of course, with your crochet and your pour art, and of course, inspiration that happens every day, is there a new part of the artistry that has caught your interest that you're like, yeah, I'm about to dip my toe in this and my family's going to kill me, but I'm going to have all 3 of these going?
Wood burning. Yep. Now, I do resin, because I do resin on top of the girls, and then anytime I do, make a bunch. I try to do it all at once, because once you open it, you got like 3 or 6 months to use it. So I try to do a bunch of the girls, and then whatever's left over, I have some like molds. So I'll use them. I have a mold for like a buckle whenever I make a hat that has a buckle on it, and try to blend it together. But then with the cutting wood and learning that, and then my dad, he burned something into a design into some wood, and I was like, oh, let me take a look. Maybe I could use that. And so now I'm getting the wood burning stuff. So I'm just like, where are we going to put this right now?
Okay, so we're going to probably see some new pieces coming out. I'm looking forward to seeing that on Facebook soon.
Yes.
All right. So for everybody who is watching this interview and getting introduced to you the first time, and also interested in connecting with you and also purchasing stuff from you, that unfortunately because they couldn't be here this weekend, how can they follow you and also purchase things from you?
Okay, well, the name of the company is Galaxy Dream Studio. You can find me on Ko-fi. That's at ko-fi.com, and look me up on there. I do have an Instagram under Galaxy Dream Studio, and that's pretty much it. And then I email Galaxy Dream Studios with an S at the end at Gmail, and let me know. I do take commissions. I will do a custom color of any of the creatures if you want me to, or if you're looking for like scarves and stuff, because those get going so fast. And so any of the hooded scarves, infinity scarves, any hoods with animal ears, all that kind of stuff, I will take commissions for if they're not up there. And yeah, that's pretty much, it's pretty new. To be very honest, it was the hubby who told me like, hey, we're gonna have to do something with all this. Because it was just filling up every nook and cranny in the bookshelves and in the room and everything. So I was like, okay, we're gonna go ahead and get the crafts on out of here and sell them, because somebody's gonna like them. And they do.
Yes. Well, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in for our interview, and definitely follow Galaxy Dream Studios on their social media, and also reach out to them on their Ko-fi for purchasing any of these amazing pieces, and definitely look forward to following when the wood burning pieces will soon come available. So thank you, everyone, and tune back in with our next interview.
All right, bye.
So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If they won't tell it, we will.
If this the land of the free, it was a freedom then, when they annexed Hawaii and called it cedar lands, without any type of payment and no signing off. Called themselves a republic in 1894. 1.2 million acres overtaken from the native Hawaiians. When they resisted, the West retaliated in violence and erasure. The Hawaiian language is banned as part of colonialism's plan to expand, yeah.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe as a part of their ongoing war with Asia. Used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation. Colonizers call for annexation. The work of all the locals. School never let you know. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. We will.
So if we put Hawaii into perspective, well, Black and Asian history is interconnected. Considering the fight with the Pacific, then of course versus Asia, they was treated as a middleman for war, but didn't let the Western colorism run its course. Cause dark skin was a sign of dignity to core. The land was taken in the name of capitalism, when prior to it was an actual kingdom. Clap back at the system.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe as a part of their ongoing war with Asia. Used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation. Colonizers call for annexation. The work of all the locals. School never let you know. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. We will.